Hey everybody, and welcome to my N5 series on the SP404 mk2, where I cover a topic in about 5 minutes. You've stolen my handle, writes in, and seems to be a little bit confused about the difference between a project, pattern, and sample. So I'm going to try and break it down. I know this is a little complicated, but I'm just going to go over like some of the math and try and explain how things work. But first, high level, we have a project. So if I hold Shift and pad 16, here what it's showing you is the blinking yellow light is telling me what my current project is. And you can see here I've got 7 other, I guess I got 6 other, but I have 7 total projects in what's loaded in the SP404 mk2 right now. So I can just switch between them. I can hit project 1, it's going to load it up, and you can see that these like samples look different. So that's because I've just loaded up a different project. And you might be wondering, what is a project still? But a project is basically made up of 10 banks of samples and 10 banks of patterns. So you can switch between pattern mode and sample mode by hitting the pattern select. You can switch between banks by hitting the buttons up top here. And if you hit it a second time while it's on a bank you want to get to, you'll switch to the sub version. So right now we're on bank E. If I hit it again, we're going to go to bank J. If we want to go to bank F, we have to hit A and then hit it a second time to get to bank F. And right now, again, we're in sample view. We've got, you can see in this case, we've got 15 samples. We could have an extra one, but this one's blank. So you've got 10 banks with 16 samples. And this is basically showing us what our available samples are. So you can see, I can play these and they'll play. This is just playing the sample every time I hit the pad. So important to know, each project has 10 banks and each bank has up to 16 samples. Similarly, the project has 10 banks of patterns and each bank can have up to 16 patterns in it. And you can see kind of which patterns are active. Now what's showing and blinking here right now is not the same as if I hit Shift and subpad and go in. You can see like these projects are different. So a project contains patterns, but a pattern is not a project. And I think one area where I see some people getting confused in is similarly, if you hold Shift and go to pad 14, if you go to import from SD card, you can see you got sample and project. You can't import a pattern. And personally, I think this is whether you can't import MIDI. I kind of understand why they don't do it, because it can be kind of a mess to convert MIDI into the SP404 mk2's way of handling triggering notes. We don't have a way to transpose notes up and down. So I get it. It's kind of a headache and a hassle. But I think it leads to this confusion where because you can't import patterns, the only way you can kind of get at them is either recording MIDI from an external device like the MPC over here, or you're going to have to just like read sheet music and do it, or it's going to have to be in an existing project that somebody else has created or that you create yourself to import it. So, yeah, I'm sorry. There's not a good way to import MIDI or patterns. You have to do it through the project. And as I said, it's just good to note that just because you have something here for a pattern doesn't mean you can import it or export it other than through the project or doing a backup. So if you wanted to basically save your patterns, because they're in a project, just go Shift. You can go import, I'm in the wrong mode. Shift, pad 14 to go to import, export. You'd go export, say project, and let it know which project you want. If the one that you are currently on is project 2, like me, you just hit number 2, and then you just push in the value knob and hit enter, and it will go right it to the SD card. If you go look at the directory structure, you'll see the patterns and samples out there. But beyond that, I don't know that I have any good advice for you other than just trying to make sure you understand kind of the data hierarchy here. Anyway, guys, thanks for stopping by. Keep making music, keep having fun. Remember, if it sounds good, it is good, and peace.